Today, we're going to dive into a philosophy of self-defense that, believe it or not, doesn't start with your fists. It starts with your mind. It's a whole different way of thinking about personal safety that kicks in long before a physical threat ever even shows up. So yeah, forget everything you've seen in Hollywood fight scenes. This is all about a powerful, fundamental shift in your mindset. It's about empowerment. And Susan B. Anthony, wow, she captured it perfectly more than 100 years ago. So where do we even begin? With a punch? A kick? Nope. We start with the single most important element of all, the deep-seated, unshakable belief that you are in fact worth defending. The true foundation of your safety is all internal. It's not about how much muscle you have. It's about how much you value yourself. I mean, without that belief, no amount of physical training is ever going to be truly effective. The key takeaway here is just so simple. Self-defense is just an assertion that your safety, your boundaries, and your life matter. Period. Okay, so if it's not about memorizing 100 different moves for 100 different scenarios, then what is it about? Well, the answer is actually beautifully simple. It's about principles. Think of it like this. Technique-based training is like a cookbook. You follow a recipe exactly. But what happens if you're missing an ingredient? The whole thing falls apart, right? Well, principle-based training is more like understanding chemistry. You know why the ingredients react, so you can adapt, you can improvise, you can create something new on the fly. And, let's be honest, real-world violence is messy and unpredictable. It never, ever follows a recipe. And just look at what those principles are. These aren't some complicated, secret moves. They are universal truths about physics and how bodies move. Take leverage. That's how a smaller person can totally control a larger one. It's not magic, it's just physics. Or think about space and time. Every single step back you take buys you precious seconds to think and to act. The big idea is that by mastering these concepts, you can solve any physical problem that comes your way. Now, let's talk about the most critical part of self-defense, which, funny enough, has nothing to do with fighting at all. It's all about seeing a problem long before it actually becomes one. Okay, let's really unpack this, because this right here is the real win. The most advanced self-defense expert on the planet is the one who recognizes a dangerous situation brewing and simply isn't there when it boils over. Avoiding the fight is always, always the highest form of victory. So how do you actually get better at avoidance? Well, you speed up your brain's natural decision-making process. It's often called the OODA loop. That stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. Think of a pro baseball player hitting a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. They aren't consciously thinking through every single step. They've trained so much that their OODA loop is just lightning fast. Self-defense training does the exact same thing for your personal safety. A huge part of that observe step is recognizing the subtle social tests that predators often use. For instance, they might use forced teaming to create this false sense of trust, saying something like, "Looks like we're the only two left here," just to manufacture a connection out of thin air. Or they might try typecasting. It's a slight insult to get you to prove them wrong, like, "Oh, you're probably too shy to have a drink with me." You need to know these aren't accidents, they are tactics, and recognizing them is a superpower. And this quote just perfectly highlights the tool you already have to detect those tactics, your intuition. That little voice, that gut feeling that something is just off, that is a highly sophisticated threat assessment system. Honestly, the first rule of safety is to learn to listen to it. So the main thing here is that awareness isn't about being paranoid. It's about being present and just trusting the signals your own brain is sending you. But what happens if awareness and avoidance fail? What if you can't get away? Is it time to just flip a switch to maximum violence? No, it's about applying a measured, appropriate level of force. This quote right here perfectly outlines the legal and ethical framework. And the keywords are so important: minimum, reasonable, and necessary. This isn't a license for revenge. It's permission to do exactly what is required to get yourself to safety. So here's a quick breakdown of what reasonable actually means. It's what an average person would do using the lowest level of force needed, based only on the information you had in that split second. The goal is to resolve, not to escalate. You see, force isn't just one thing. It's a whole spectrum. It starts with your mere presence in a space, then it moves to verbal commands, a loud stop, and it escalates from there. The goal is always to use the level of force that matches the level of the threat. You wouldn't use deadly force against a simple touch, and you definitely wouldn't just use your voice against a deadly threat. Even the physical response itself is strategic. See these tertiary targets like fingers or the wrist? Those are for low-level threats, like just getting someone's hand off your arm. Primary targets, like the eyes, throat, groin, those are for ending a fight immediately when your life is in danger. It's about having the right tool for the right job. And the goal is always, always one thing: escape.
But this isn't just stuff for emergencies. It's something you can actually live every single day. So the real key takeaway is this. This isn't about some weekend seminar you take one time. It's about integrating these principles, awareness, boundary setting, readiness, into your daily life. Because when you do that, you become what's known as a hard target, basically someone an opportunistic criminal would just rather avoid altogether.
And here's what that actually looks like in the real world. At a party, it's not just about recognizing when someone ignores your no. It's about being prepared to leave right then and there if they do. While you're out exercising, it's having one earbud out so you can actually hear footsteps behind you. In a parking garage, it's having your keys in your hand before you get to your car, ready to unlock it and get in quickly. Or when you're on a date with someone new, it's meeting in a public place and making sure you have your own ride home. These small, daily practices are what truly builds a lifestyle of safety.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? Because every tool, every principle, every tactic we've talked about only works if you start with the answer to this one powerful question. Believing you are worth protecting is the first and most important act of self-defense there is.